Hello everyone, I am Geeta Verma from YourPedia Education, and today I am here with Professor Varun Dutt. Professor Varun Dutt, who is in School of Computing and Electrical Engineering in IIT Mandi, Himachal Pradesh. Professor Varun is working in various academic fields actually, including computer science, cognitive science, mental health, etc. So today we are going to start with Professor Varun Dutt. And sir, please introduce yourself and tell our viewers about your research work and you.
Thank you, ma'am. So I'm actually I started out being a computer scientist. I did my bachelor's in computer science, and then I went abroad. I did my master's and PhD, and that was in computer engineering and public policy. After that, I did my postdoc, and then after that, I joined at IIT Mandi. So I've been here for the last 11 years, and mostly my areas of work include artificial intelligence, human-computer interaction, and cognitive science.
Okay. And sir, what is relevance of cognitive science for engineering and science students?
Yeah, so basic cognitive science deals with how mind works, and here we are trying to understand what is the neural basis of why we make decisions, why we eat, why do we buy a specific kind of item or a product. And for engineering students, engineer is has to make very difficult choices. If
Okay.
he's a civil engineer, he has to decide how to build the room, building,
Yeah,
what kind of wall thickness is required. A
exactly.
computer scientist, on the other hand, has to decide, okay, what programming language should I use? How should I go about designing my solution and developing? So cognitive science actually underlying many of these areas tries to understand why an engineer would make a decision in a certain way and what would go on in the mind or the brain when a person decides in a certain manner. So these days, having an understanding of cognitive science makes a person aware that okay, the person is not biased by certain things like okay, let me only go for something which is low in cost or something which is not as good in quality.
Yes.
So we as when we are making decisions, we may be looking at only one aspect. We may be missing out other aspects like safety aspect, security aspect in a software.
Hmm.
We may be missing out on the safety aspect in a building. So cognitive science tells us that while we make such decisions as engineers, we are scientists, we are aware of all the different things which might be important in and adding to this decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how cognitive science, decision science, and data science are related?
Okay, so cognitive science, I already said, is how mind works. In contrast, areas like data science and AI are more data-driven methodologies where we are using algorithms to actually, find patterns in data. And see, if you are trying to look at patterns in our day-to-day decisions,
Yes.
then cognitive science allows us to do the experiment where we collect data about how we are deciding, say an engineer deciding or a student deciding between different careers. In contrast, once we collect this data, the machine learning or the data science would take up this data which is already collected and then try
Okay.
to see can we develop a tool which can predict this for a number of such students who are of similar kind using machine learning algorithms. So cognitive science more brings us the methodologies on, observing the real world, observing the decision making through experiments. In contrast, the machine learning and AI tries to build tools and techniques on that collected data to make it automated, useful for society, where we can give out this as a tool which can actually become a recommender system recommending careers to people. Learning from the data they have already seen through cognitive science.
Okay. And sir, what are the opportunities for students in these fields?
Yeah, so I was telling you about cognitive science. Now going into data science, AI. These days, it's an advent of data. Data comes from sensors. Data comes from social networks like Facebook, Twitter, and much of this data can be used for making sense of what what's important to society. For example, many of these interesting applications which we are developing here at IIT Mandi include landslide monitoring. So data is being coming from sensors deployed in soils in the hills, and what we need to make sense of is whether there is movement happening, whether there will be a landslide happening,
Okay.
and so we are able to predetermine soil movement 15 to 30 minutes ahead of time. So this is possible because of AI and machine learning approaches, data science approaches, and I would see that there is a lot of potential here. Students who pursue these careers would find jobs readily in different domains, in different sectors, which include first disaster management, then computer vision related applications which are based on image, and many of the companies which even use data like financial data, stock market data, and investment kind of banking domain. So
Okay.
there's a lot of potential for AI and data science. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So, Professor Varun, so as you are handling the CSC department, so what are the main courses running in the CSC department in IIT Mandi?
Okay, so the curriculum at IIT Mandi in computer science is customized to each student's need,
Oh,
which is
great.
very different from other IITs. So every student in computer science at IIT Mandi can pursue uh, different types of courses based on their interest. So just to give you an example, beyond the core courses, which
Yes, sir.
are in areas like operating system, computer networks, database management systems, and algorithms. There are courses in AI, there are courses in pattern recognition, there are courses in cognitive modeling, also courses in virtual reality, metaverse.
Yes, sir.
So many of the students, after they do their core courses, they diversify into many of these other courses which are electives, and this allows them to broaden their skills and at the same time make them market ready for companies and placements.
And Professor Varun, we have a general query on behalf of the student community that why they join IIT Mandi, because it's a second gen IIT, it's a new IIT. So student had a lot of confusion regarding IIT Mandi. So can you give a brief idea about the labs, the research work is going on in IIT Mandi?
Okay, so firstly, thank you for this question. So firstly, there should not be any misconception. IIT Mandi is already 14-year-old now, so
Oh,
it's no
great.
longer kind of a baby IIT or a toddler IIT. It's
Yeah.
becoming maybe a teenager IIT. So the other thing is that IIT Mandi is the IIT of the north in the mountains. So climate-wise, ecosystem-wise, its USP is its location. It is located in the Himalayan mountains. The landscape is something which you won't find in any IIT. The temperature profile and the ambience is great. Now, coming to the beyond the geography, coming to the academic life, as I already said, at IIT Mandi, students get to decide the kind of curriculum they would like to pursue, both at the undergraduate and postgraduate level, in discussion with their faculty advisors, with their doctoral committees or master's committees, annual progress committee. So this allows the student to base their academic profile during the degree on what they would like to pursue, and without of course there is some guidance on what they should pursue, but beyond that they are free to do it. One other aspect of it is that among the rankings in India, IIT Mandi has stood among the top 20 in NIRF,
Wow.
top engineering institutes in the country, where we have thousands of institutes, and then also in the among all the university level, we are in the top 50. So, given it's an IIT and given the ranks and all, it makes IIT a favored destination. One other aspect of IIT Mandi, why IIT Mandi, is that the diversity on the campus is there. We have students not only from certain areas in India, but from all over the country, including students from abroad,
Oh, wow.
and this, from our exchange partners like some of the German universities, WPI, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, where students are right now visiting and they're working together with students in our IIT on projects. So this diversity allows students to work with their peers not only in India but also abroad. And
Okay.
this is a very unique flavor.
And what are the research work going on in CSC department if we talk about the CSC, AI or ML? Because students are more curious about the AI and ML
Yeah.
departments.
So, in terms of the research work, we have a very strong AI ML group. Several faculty work in this area. I'm going to start out with computer vision, which happens to be a set of faculty in this area where people are working on image related applications, sound related applications, particularly animal identification to a tumor identification or cancer identification on pathological images. Beyond that, we have had very interesting kind of projects. One example is on landslide monitoring. IIT Mandi came up with its only unique, one of its kind in the world, low-cost landslide technology,
Great.
which has been designed, developed, and manufactured from the campus from my group, and now it has been deployed in 60 plus locations in Himachal and outside. So this is a sensor system which gives us data on soil movements, weather, and then allows us to make sense of whether there will be soil movements. And last monsoon, several incidents were averted due to early warning from the system. There's also work in AI and cognitive science on, particularly computer science, on cybersecurity. We are heading a new area called behavioral cybersecurity, so to understand the psychology of the hacker, and here we are building tools which allow people to actually, in a controlled sandbox environment, do things which hackers do, typically like wage phishing via email attack or web phishing attack or deface a website or do some of these things. And then we collect data and then we use machine learning to understand how people go about attacking such kind of networks. So this is again a very novel area which students can come and pursue.
Okay. General queries like if my background is from civil or mechanical or electronics, and I want to pursue my masters or PhD in AI or ML. So, what is the prerequisites required for that particular student?
So, in terms of being not from the background and wanting to pursue, I would request that, of course, uh, then you have to meet the eligibility criteria. And but the eligibility criteria and the interdisciplinary nature of our research, like I was giving example of landslide monitoring. Here we have students already working on in the center. Some of them are from computer science, some of them are from electronics, some of them are from civil engineering and mechanical engineering. So the civil and mechanical engineering students bring the civil and mechanical engineering knowledge to the problem domain, whereas the computer science and electrical and electronic engineering students develop the system based on the knowledge. So this allows us to work together, and I would say that if a mechanical or a civil engineer wants to pursue research in or in more AI related, having some understanding of Python programming would be useful because many of the applications we do in AI ML these days is Python driven.
Fine, sir. And so one more query is like if I am from other background, not from the CSC background, and if I face the interview for PhD program, so even though I haven't that much knowledge regarding the programming and data structure and algorithm, so what you people can look into a student if he or she want to join the PhD program?
Yeah, so in this situation, yes, the student will not be at the same level as a student who has been trained or groomed like a computer science student. But if the student happens to be enthusiastic, if the student shows that yes, even though he or she did civil or mechanical or some other area, uh, but the passion was towards computer science or AI, and passion can be shown through different ways by taking courses while the student was pursuing the prior degree or online courses, and that allows the student to actually show the interest and the enthusiasm in the interview. Then I think there could be a strong case of taking a student who may be from outside the area.
And Professor, if somebody wants to reach you, so reach you in the means to any faculties of the any department, so can he or she try to contact via mail and give you the interest in the research? So is it possible?
Yes, it is very much as possible. So every department here has a department chair, and there is a website itmandi.ac.in where you can go and check the department. And generally, it is good to send an email to the department chair because the chair has an understanding of the area and the question and who may be the right person. But if the student wants to contact a particular faculty directly, then email is the best preferred option. All the email addresses of all the faculty members are on the web page, and we do get several emails. And if you do not get an email for a few days, maybe you can send a reminder. And but if you still do not hear, you can of course approach chair and other people available on campus.
And a common query is like the job opportunities after MS and PhD program.
Yeah.
So can you, sir, tell me about the job opportunities after the MS or PhD programs?
Okay, so there are several job opportunities after the master's and PhD program. Typically, students who go into the master's program may not have come to an IIT in their undergraduate. Having a label of an IIT like institute at the master's and PhD student at the master's and PhD level allows the student to then pursue research either in the industry or in academia. uh, my own students who have finished masters and PhD have had different outcomes. Some of them have gone and become faculty, and not only in India but in institutions abroad. Some of them have gone into industry and they are working in India and abroad. So I would say that, of course, it is field dependent where you are pursuing your masters and PhD, but in general, the placements are good and students would find jobs in either industry or in academic areas.
And so is it good? Is it a good decision to go for direct PhD after just completing the bachelor?
It depends. That actually doesn't happen very regularly. But if suppose a student has done very well in the undergraduate level and happens to be a top student of a particular university, or has had some significant experience in industry after the bachelor's degree, then in those situations, or may have worked in research in some of the top research labs in India or abroad. In such situations, we may encourage the student to pursue, go from bachelor's directly to PhD. But this is rare, it doesn't happen most of the time. Mostly students who go into PhD have had a master's degree.
So thank you so much, sir. And it was a very nice interaction with you. Thank you.
Okay, pleasure, ma'am. And thank you for giving us this valuable time, sir. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
so much, sir. Thank you. Pleasure.